In most countries, the Knights Templar are a legend, a ghost story of trials, fires, and vanished gold. But in Portugal, the Templars are not a memory. They are a legal, institutional reality. We've already uncovered how they survived by transforming into the Order of Christ. Same knights, same power. But today, we're pulling a different thread. Because if the Templars truly survived, then the real mystery isn't medieval, it's modern. How far does that legacy reach today? To understand the present, we must understand the heist. In 1307, the King of France and the Pope tried to erase the Templars from the map. They wanted their gold, their land, and their secrets. Across Europe, the order was crushed. But in Portugal, King Dinis did something extraordinary. He disobeyed the Vatican through a legal loophole. He told the Pope, "The Templars are gone, but their property now belongs to a new, local order, the Order of Christ." It was the greatest asset transfer in history. The castles didn't change hands. The commanders didn't leave their posts. They just changed the color of their cross. While the rest of the world saw the temple fall, Portugal saw it evolve. This wasn't just about survival. It was about geography. In the 12th century, the Templars were granted a strategic frontier to defend the young kingdom of Portugal. This became their primary stronghold, the Tejo Line. They built a network of fortresses that acted as a military shield. The most iconic is Almirol, standing on a rocky island in the middle of the river, acting as a gateway. But the nerve center, the brain of the entire operation, was Tomar, located slightly north on the banks of the Nabão River. This wasn't just a collection of towers. It was a coordinated territory. For centuries, this region functioned as a state within a state, under the direct legal administration of the order. When you walk through Tomar today, you aren't just in a regular city. You are in the administrative capital of a medieval powerhouse that never truly left. Many ask, how did a tiny nation like Portugal suddenly become the master of the oceans? The answer isn't just bravery. It was intelligence. When the order was suppressed in Europe, their vast knowledge of mathematics, cartography, and astronomy flowed into Portugal. The Order of Christ didn't just provide the cross for the sails. They provided the software. The legendary School of Sagres was more than a school. It was a Templar intelligence hub. They used the quadrante and the cross staff, tools that allowed them to map the stars with surgical precision. They weren't searching for a route to India by luck. They were following maps that the Templars had been refining for centuries. And then there was the money. The Order of Christ was the wealthiest institution in the world's first global empire. They functioned as a proto-central bank. Every voyage was a corporate venture, financed by the Order's treasury. The Cross of Christ on the sails was the 15th century equivalent of a corporate seal. It told the world, this ship belongs to an institution older than any modern state. They didn't expand the world for a king alone. They expanded it for the Order. Now, let's bridge the gap to the 21st century, because this is where most history books fail you. They say the Order was nationalized in 1789 and effectively ended. But they are wrong. In 1910, Portugal became a republic. They abolished the monarchy. They secularized the state. But they couldn't bring themselves to kill the Order of Christ. Instead, they did something even more fascinating. They made it a pillar of the republic. By law, specifically, the Lei das Ordens Honorificas, the Grand Master of the Order of Christ, is the President of Portugal. Every 5 years, when a new president is elected, he automatically inherits a title that connects him back to Gualdim Pais, the Master of Tomar. Look at the official ceremonies. When a head of state visits Portugal, they are often awarded the Grand Collar of the Order of Christ. It is the highest honor. This means that the diplomatic language of modern Portugal is still, at its core, Templar language. The medals worn by generals and presidents today are the direct descendants of the insignia worn by the knights who built Tomar. Look at the symbols hiding in plain sight. The armillary sphere on the flag, a tool of cosmic navigation. The sidewalk patterns in Lisbon that mimic the flow of energy and sacred geometry. Even the Padrão dos Descobrimentos in Belém holds a secret. From the side, it's a ship facing the unknown. But on its back, carved into the stone and facing the land, stands a colossal sword. This is the sword of the Order, a silent guardian of the mission. And beneath it, on the ground, a giant compass rose, a gift from South Africa, marks the map of a world that the Knights were the first to decode. The geometry of the city of Lisbon, rebuilt after the 1755 earthquake, follows a logic of order and proportion that many scholars trace back to esoteric traditions held by the Order's successors. To find the spiritual heart of this survival, we must go to Tomar. Inside the convent of Christ lies the Charola, the Knights' private oratory. It is a masterpiece of sacred geometry, built as an octagon to mimic the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. But there's a secret hidden in its stones. The Charola wasn't just a church. It was a cosmic observatory. Its pillars and windows align with specific celestial events, proving that the Order of Christ held a level of astronomical knowledge that was centuries ahead of its time. When the Templars disappeared elsewhere, they brought their most dangerous science here, carving it into the walls where it remains, undisturbed, for anyone who knows how to read the symbols. If Tomar is the headquarters of the Order's past, Sintra is the echo of its enduring philosophy. In the late 19th century, long after the Order was supposedly nationalized, the Quinta da Regaleira was built. It is a palace of mysteries. It wasn't built by the state, but by a man who belonged to the secret circles where the Templar flame never went out. Look at the initiation well, a subterranean tower that sinks 9 levels into the earth, mirroring Dante's Divine Comedy. At the very bottom, etched into the floor, is the cross of the Order of Christ over a compass rose. Why would a private millionaire in the 1800s build a massive Templar initiation site? Because the Order never truly stopped being an intellectual and spiritual force for the Portuguese elite. The Regaleira is the physical proof that the Templar flame was kept alive in the shadows, passed down through generations of builders, thinkers, and explorers. From the octagons of Tomar to the wells of Sintra, power isn't just metals, it's land. In the Ribatejo and Alentejo regions, some of the largest estates in the country still occupy the exact territories granted to the Templars in the 12th century. The boundaries haven't changed. The families may have, the laws may have, but the concentration of power remains rooted in the same soil. Continuity is the greatest weapon of any secret society. They don't need to hide in the shadows if they own the land you walk on. So, do the Templars still exist? If you're looking for men in chainmail, you're 700 years too late. But if you're looking for a structure of power, a language of symbols, and a legal lineage that still dictates the highest honors of a modern European state, then the answer is yes. They didn't disappear. They evolved. They became the map, the flag, and the very DNA of the Portuguese Republic. This is Seven Hills Tales. If you want to follow the thread deeper into the mysteries of history, subscribe and join us. Because some orders don't die. They just wait for someone to notice they're still here.